look out the back way, there's so much snow under the shady trees, I don't think I could pull up that big hill going on the other side of it. So we'll see how this works out. Well, looking at that hill off in the distance, I'd say we've hit the end of the road. I'm not going to try to pull up that son of a gun. So we'll try to do something else. Okay, I probably could have made it up that hill. But then again, I would have had to go back down the same hill, and I didn't feel like spending the night in a ditch or wrapped up around a tree out here in Henryville Forestry. Not a lot of people come through here. I don't know what it's going to cost me to get a tow truck out here. So, next time I'm up at the forestry, I'll take y'all up to the overlook, walk around. It is very beautiful up there. And I'm going to just have to give it up for this weekend. Talk a little bit about weather and gear. We're into January now. It is cold. The space heater is struggling when it goes down below freezing. Here in the Louisville area, Ohio Valley, Kentuckiana, whatever you want to call it, our winters generally run cold, wet, and yuck. That's about it. This last snow we got was 3 inches. It's probably the best snow we've had in about 3 years. But our typical days are not always typical. The coldest night I've had so far was down 14 or 12 Fahrenheit. That was Christmas night. For my friends in Australia, that's about 10 below Celsius. I know you're down there complaining about your blasting hot summer. Well, suck it up, boys. It could be worse. And so while I'm putting my clothes away, let's talk a little bit about gear. I found 2 places that's helped me out. One of the problems I ran into when I started gearing up for this was that some of my stuff had gotten old and it was time to throw it out. And the big box stores are not helping much. Walmart, Target, what have you. I found the men's pants are all thin, weak material. I guess they're good for standing around looking good at the bar, but I don't get to do a lot of that, and I'm not going to anytime soon. So what I did is I found a couple of places. They're like low-end outfitters. North Face, Patagonia, Gore-Tex material. Yeah, I'll take all that stuff I can get someday, but right now, tomorrow morning I'm getting up. I'm going to go work in a dirty warehouse. I'm not putting on a high-end pair of hiking pants just to get them tore up on a nail or covered with grease from the forklift or something like that. So for practical reasons, I'm wearing a cotton blend with some ripstop in it that came out of Cabela's. It's their house brand called Duckhead, excuse me. No, Redhead. It's named after a duck. Anyhow, it's got ripstop in the cotton blend. And before the outdoors guys all started yelling, well, cotton kills, cotton kills. Yeah, I know about it. I've done my share of kayaking. I know about cold water and hypothermia and all that happy stuff. But let's face it, this spring I'm not heading up the Appalachian Trail. Lord knows I wish I was that tough, but it ain't happening. I'm not going to be summiting any mountains unless I can drive up there. So I live here in a big metal box. It's my tent. If the weather sucks outside, I'm not going out there. If I get caught out in the weather, I'm running back here and putting on some warm clothes. So anyhow, living in the van, space is tight. What I've been doing is trying to pay more attention to what I put in here. So if you're going to have like 2 go-to pairs of pants, let's make sure they're good ones. You spend a little extra money on it. At the same time, I'm not spending a fortune because I'm going to have to replace this stuff someday too. Going through my old gear, one thing I did find that was useful was I have 2 of these military grade wool blankets. And it's European military. And I know, guys, I know, buy American, all that. The European blankets were 20% bigger than the American military-style wool blankets, and they had something like 10 or 15% higher content of wool in the mix. So yeah, I spent my money on that, and they keep me warm in bed at night. Darn good to have them. Wool will keep you warm when it's wet. It hangs on to some of its insulation value. The other thing you may not know, if you're wrapped up in a wool blanket by a campfire, the sparks popping out of it won't catch very easily on the wool, burning little holes in your blanket. That's something a lot of people didn't know. I know I didn't know it. So I scored a few good things. I've got some synthetic base layer, long underwear, if you want to call it that. I found out back in September, early October, when I started looking for it, that stuff's hard to come by this year. I guess we're going to blame it on COVID, since we're blaming everything else on COVID. Don't what the heck that's got to do with it, I don't know. And one thing I did score was Tractor Supply. Had this as a blend with merino wool in it. If you're not familiar with merino wool, it's much softer than the scratchy wool in that blanket. It is comparable to cotton in feel. It has another factor to it is the fiber's got something weird about it. It doesn't trap bacteria, so it don't get stinky as easily as regular fiber does. Which, if you're not got a laundromat in the back of your van, that's kind of handy sometimes. Something I keep around and always have, your feet will get wet for anything else. Wool socks are pretty easy to come by. They do retain their heat value to a certain extent when they're wet. I tend to throw mine over the top of my cotton socks just to give me an extra layer of insulation when the ground is stinking cold is coming up through my shoes. And if you haven't got it, this old boy, he don't like getting cold. So I wear probably a base layer all the time. My work has me in and out of the building. I'm up on the docks. I'm running in and out of cold trailers on a forklift. So I need some versatility in my gear. That's why I'm looking for things that mix them up. The other big piece of gear, and don't laugh about this, is I have a Carhartt hoodie that come out of Tractor Supply also. People like, well, hoodie's gotten to be a bit of a meme sort of thing, but it is a versatile piece of gear. You get cold, you put the hood up on the hoodie, zip the thing up, you get warmer. If it gets warm, you take the hood down. If it gets really warm, you unzip the thing, let some air in. You get tired of it, roll it up the ball, throw it in the corner. The hoodie I've got is very heavy. It's been my main outer shell for this winter. It's a little bit water resistant, not waterproof, but you go out in the sprinkling rain and it'll beat up on it and you don't get soaked. And so Tractor Supply tends, guess what, they tend to go towards farmers and also construction workers, people that work outdoors. If you go to Cabela's, which is kind of a low-end outfitter, they tend to focus on hunters and fishermen, which also spend a lot of time outdoors. And someday I hope to have a really nice collection of higher-end gear, but living the way I'm living right now, it don't make sense to put this stuff on, then go into work, wear it out, tear it up, and bust my budget and not really gain a whole lot out of it. One thing about van life is space is tight. So if you only got a couple of pairs of go-to pants, you got a couple of sets of go-to base layers, whatever, go ahead and spend a little extra money, get something nice, and set yourself up well. And you'll be a lot more comfortable. Next year, I'll probably have a dry air heater put in this van. It's a little more expensive and a bigger pain in the butt to install. But it's probably going to be worth it for comfort level, especially as I go out adventuring more. Anyhow, that's about all I got going on right now. So if you saw anything you liked in this video, do subscribe. Ring the bell. My posting schedule is pretty erratic. Usually I get a video out about once a month or every 3 weeks if I'm really going at it. But do come back and see us. Keep watching me on this journey. Things are coming along. We're moving forward. And until then, you all have a good time, have a good life, and we'll see you next time.